I like to, before I jump into next year, I got to look back. And before I even look back at data and analytics and all that stuff, you got to look back and celebrate, count the fruit. I like the fruit analogy because that's basically what we're in the business of doing is we plant seeds and we harvest fruit. Okay. And I don't like vegetables, so let's use fruit, right? So planting seeds, you're putting content out there in the world. You're building offers. You're building trust with people. You're doing webinars. You're connecting on social. You're networking. You're going to events. These are all seeds that are going in the ground. There's no guarantee that they're going to reap a harvest, but anytime you plant something, you gain something back in return, and you usually gain more than you planted. One seed becomes an entire fruit tree that has multiple pieces of fruit that have multiple seeds in it. So it's the process of multiplication, but you have to have the courage to put something in the ground, to part with it for a moment, to do the work ahead of time, and then wait for the wind or the rain and the sun to come, and then you can harvest. You got to look back and say, I planted a lot of seeds this year, the year before, 10 years ago. What kind of fruit did I get this year from it? So count the fruit. So I'm going to list all the things that I try to count in the count the fruit section. Number one, I write down, and I write all this down so I see it in my journal. Actual business revenue. How much revenue did you make in the last 12 months? Write it down. Celebrate it. Did you grow by a percent? 5, 10, 20, 60, 100%, right? Actual business revenue, that's fruit. Your personal financial goals that you were able to accomplish because of your business, right? We have a business for a lot of reasons, but one of those is to have a wonderful income for ourselves and for our family. So were you able to buy a car because of your business? Were you able to get a down payment for a house? Were you able to renovate your house? Were you able to pay for private school tuition for your kids? Were you able to just take a nice trip? What did you use your business profit for personally that was a financial goal? Count that as fruit. Any successful product launches. Here's how you define successful. Profitable. If it made money, it was successful. If it made profit, it was successful, okay? So just celebrate any of the launches, even if they weren't as much as you wanted. I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, my Black Friday launch didn't do as well. A lot of people's Black Friday wasn't as great this year. Who cares? Did you make money? Was it profitable? Celebrate it. Any challenges you overcame or solutions to problems you discovered. This is huge. We are all bumping up against problems and challenges in our life and business. Where in your business and life this year did you actually solve a problem, overcome a challenge? That's fruit, right? So write that down. What about any new experiences you had in your business? Did you go to a conference? Did you network with some people? Did you collaborate with someone? I've met so many incredible people this year. So like 2024, real time, I'm like, well, I hung out with John Maxwell multiple times. I met a ton of people at events from masterminds I'm part of, one-off events I went to, guests I had on my podcast that we became friends, and now we've gone back and forth on the phone. I mean, all kinds of cool people I've met, people I'm collaborating with. So new people and new experiences. So new experiences. The second thing was new people who you met that impacted you. So those are related because you might meet people at these experiences. But for you, what are some new people? So write down the names of people that you met this year that have impacted you. Could have, again, just been in one conversation. It could be a mentor. It could be a new friendship. It could be somebody you met at a table at an event. Who are those people? Write their names down. You should probably follow up with those people. Books that you read that affected you in a positive way or a meaningful way. I read a ton of books. You probably read books. Not every book is going to be life-changing, but what are the books that you read this year that you're like, whoa, that really affected me in a profound way? Charities you were able to support through your business profit. One of the number one line items in my business and Shay and I's personal lives, in fact, it is the number one line item in our budget, is giving to charity. So when we bring profit home from the business, well, two things actually. We give most of our charity directly out of the business, so we never even get a chance to take it, right? So we just use our business as a vehicle for blessing humanity. And so every month when I look at my business profit from the previous month, I get my P&L from my accountants and my bookkeepers. I take a look at it and I'm like, okay, how much profit did the business make? Revenue came in and then you had expenses, the profit. Then I take a percentage off the top of the profit before I take any money home, before I do any investing, like it all charity. And I every single month I'm seeing my business make a difference in the outside world that has nothing to do with even the work I do in my business, which I think is already improving the world. So what about you? Charities that you're able to support, celebrate that. What about employees you have or contractors that you were able to provide work for this year? That's a huge thing to celebrate. Whether you have a big team, the biggest team I've had, I think at one point is 7, or you have a small team. Do you have a virtual assistant that your business helps provide work for and therefore income for? Celebrate that. That's awesome. You're not only making a great living for yourself by serving people, you're actually getting to pay people, which is super, super cool. Do you have any even personal contractors to help you out of your home? Like, do you have a cleaner or a personal assistant at your house or lawn care? These are people these are other businesses that you're able to hire because your business makes money for you to then go hire someone to cut your grass or clean your house or take care of personal things and run errands for you, right? Like these are all businesses. We're all moving money around. It's beautiful. And then celebrate, finally, the last fruit, any schedule adjustments that you were able to make this year that brought freedom to your work-life balance. Work-life balance is not a myth. It's a real thing. It's something we're always aiming for, is to get that perfect balance between when you're working and when you're not working, because those things should not be blurred. They should be separate things. You work and you rest. That's the way we're designed. And so that's messy. I've had to change my schedule every year since I had kids, different seasons of life, different ages, and even sometimes in the middle of the year, I'll change it. So any adjustments you made that you're like, you know what, that improved our life and our schedule, celebrate that. That's huge. So that's the number one thing to do. This is the most fun you'll ever have because you really get to look back in your year and you might have a feeling of how the year felt, but that feeling is largely irrelevant. The facts are really what matter, because you might feel like, it was an exhausting year and it didn't hit what I wanted to hit. But if you look at the fruit, you might be like, well, actually, this is an incredible year when you look at all these things I just wrote down. That changes your perspective on the year, which is really, really important for your mental health and for your sort of planning into next year.